Welcome back to this episode of shit I didn't want to do, but I'm being told to do anyways. I wasn't originally going to talk about my perspective on A Million Lives. A lot of people were doing it, but I'm being told by a lot of people, including my wife, that I should talk about it. So here we go. Let's start with Friday, shall we? Friday already started off stressful because we had to be there before doors opened up at 10. My kids' before school program wouldn't let us drop them off before 7, which meant that we had to figure out how to make the 2.5 hour drive, praying for no traffic on a Friday with work traffic.
Yeah, that was great.
We made it there just in the nick of time. I think we got into the convention center at 9:40.
Yeah.
Going in through the Sharp Street entrance like we were instructed to do. Walking into the convention center, I thought I was in the wrong place because there were no signs. There was nothing to indicate that there was a convention or a festival or anything like that happening at all. There was a security guard for the Baltimore Convention Center sitting there, and I say, "Hey, where's the event?" And before I could even finish the question, she goes, "Take the elevator down 1 floor, you're there." No check-in table, no signage, no decorations, nothing. No badges, no wristbands, as everybody else has already said. We get down at the convention. There's a lot of authors already set up and a lot more still setting up. The layout is way different than the map that we received, so I have no idea where I'm sitting at this point. I kind of wandered around, dragging my heavy-ass cart behind me with my wife and 4-year-old son in tow, asking people what table number they're at. And most people didn't know. They kind of said that the map changed last minute until I got to one area where somebody says, "Hey, Atlas, you're sitting right here." Works for me. Good enough. It's an empty table. Let's just set up. Now, mind you, I had a panel that I had to be at 10:30. Well, with my lovely wife's help, we were able to set up the table, and we had enough time to kind of wander around the convention for a little bit before I had to go off to my panel. Now let's talk about the panel, shall we? There were more authors on that panel than there were people attending. And the people attending were like 9, including my wife and son, and another author street team of like 2 or 3 people. The moderator stood at the back of the room looking at his phone, and then all of the authors got collected, and we just kind of started talking. My wife is the one that actually suggested, "Hey, could you guys introduce yourselves to kick off the panel?"
I will say, I kept looking at the moderator like, "Hey, I want to hear questions. I want to hear about these books." And I'm like, why does he keep looking at his phone? And the guy was just like, "Oh, I was just letting you guys talk and see where it goes from here."
Professional journalist. Anyway, so we all introduce ourselves, and he finally asks a single question to get the ball rolling, and then we go off on our tangents, and we have a blast. We're having good conversation, sharing details, sharing information. The panel was huge. The guests were few, but we did have one very enthusiastic attendee who was asking all sorts of questions, which I'm very happy with because it gave us an opportunity to talk, and the moderator wasn't asking any questions anyways. 10 to 10:30, we had half an hour to sell books. Panel ended at like 11:30. I'm back at my desk, sitting down, ready to sell to the nobody that's there. And half an hour later is when the event organizer shouts to the room that they're closing the vending hall down for a 1 hour lunch break.
Literally, there was nobody.
Selling stuff is how we make our money back. It's how we afford our table, how we afford our flight and travel and all that stuff. Selling is how we make that back. So if I only have half an hour to sell, and then another half an hour to sell, and then an hour lunch break, that's a lot of no opportunity to make any kind of sales. So I was a little disgruntled about that as I sat there and ate my turkey sandwich that my wife so lovingly made. 1 o'clock, we get back, and almost nobody comes back until about 1:10. They kind of slowly trickle back in, including the authors. But that's because there was nobody there. And again, no signs, and they didn't actually close down the vendor hall. They just told people to leave for a lunch break. So a lot of people weren't comfortable leaving their tables unattended for that period of time.
Which is fair.
Yeah, it's fair. My 4-year-old, he had his tablet. He was having a great time. My wife, she was reading her orc penis books.
Please cut the orc penis stuff.
You want me to cut an orc penis?
Shut up. Fuck you.
Okay.
I'm gay.
After that, we have from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock to sell more books. That's a 3-hour period. So again, I've been here since about 9:30. We're getting to 3 o'clock, and I had 4 hours in that entire time to sell books total. It's not good. But nobody was going to show up on Friday anyways because there was no Friday ticket option. It was Saturday only, and that was $50. So the only way that the people who were attending on Friday were there is if they spent $150 or $250, which is ridiculous because the only attraction is the 120 authors in that exhibit hall for people to walk around. Yeah, there are some panels, and there was like a cosplay meetup, but really the main attraction is the Lavender Ball, which doesn't happen until Saturday, We'll get to that. And the attending authors doing the signing in the exhibit hall. That is not enough. I love indie authors, but that is not enough to draw people in for $150. Yeah, for the readers that attended and paid such a high price and still managed to buy some people's books, thank you.
Mm.
That is also not easy on you guys either. That's ridiculous. That's way too pricey for what you were getting, but thank you. Okay, so fast forward to Saturday. Some people did show up, but again, they were closing down the vending hall at 3. So you have from 9 a.m. to 3, sans the 12 to 1 lunch break, which gives them 4 hours to set up for the ball, which started at 7 o'clock p.m. Saturday, all in all, went a little bit better. There were more people, not many more people. We were told 600 tickets were sold and that 140 people showed up. But many of the authors in this discourse that's following the event and speaking with the event manager highly doubt that there were 140 people that actually showed up. We've been asking for proof to verify that these are accurate numbers and been dodged left and right. Every shred of proof, from the swag materials to the ticket sales, the metrics, the numbers, so on and so forth, we've been asking for proof to show, that what she was saying was true, and all of it's been just avoided. Vending hall hours end at 3, and the ball starts at 7. That's 4 hours to set up. And if you remember what the ball looked like, what did you do with that 4 hours? Yes. And better yet, they said that the ball was not set up to standards, but where were the decorations that were supposed to be set up?
Preach. Our kids' elementary school put on a better dance than this.
My wife and I have been to elementary school events that were more put together than that ball.
Okay. Thank God for that security officer who brought Steve.
Steve! So I packed up at 3 o'clock, spent some time discussing with the other authors just how wonderful the event was, and how many books we sold, and how many attendees there were at the place, and just how great everything went before driving home to go see my lovely wife and kids. And that's a wrap on A Million Lives. May it burn in hell.